Oh, wow, right at the train. Okay, relax. I know you're seeing Chrome on Christmas, and you're like, what the? Oh, so cool. Oh, I'm gonna get out there. I'm not discouraging you to get out there. And really, if you're surprised that there's Chrome around this time of year, then I don't know, like, you haven't been informed. You're not into it too much. You know, you're probably one of those people that will never go this late no matter what, because this information has been online and YouTubers have been making every year late fishing videos, early fishing videos, and this information is very openly have been out there for a while. I'm not gonna go into the psychology of why people don't do this late season fishing. It doesn't matter, but they just don't. So I hear some questions and comments sometimes that, you know, if you post late season videos, then you increase the pressure on the river where, you know, for the late fishery, or, you know, whatever. First off, maybe to an extent. Second off, for a little bit, if any, because people soon realize that even though you're seeing some people catching chromers or having decent days, that's not always the case. You have to time a lot more than usually, and a lot of times you're on to very old fish, and it just doesn't feel good. You don't even get keepers, and you kind of feel like you're messing with their thing. But at the same time, the reality is late and early seasons is never gonna be popular. It doesn't matter how many videos I make of how much I enjoy it. Because, you know, you need a little bit of research to know that you can catch chromies late in the season. You also need a little bit of brain power to know that it's not super easy and straightforward at all. And, you know, so people have known this for a while. You know, if you're somebody that's just realizing it, if you have that bug, like some of us, to fish early or late, then you would do it anyway. And if you're somebody with a bug like that, if I didn't tell you right now, you would have found out sooner or later, you know, because you obviously are a newbie. So, again, don't get it all twisted, like, you know, because of people that post, suddenly systems get super busy. That's my thoughts on the subject of late fishing. And I'm actually gonna now advertise late season fishing. And I'm probably gonna get a lot of flag for it, and I don't care, because I know what I know. And even if I glamorize it right now with this video and open the eyes of many people, you'll see that long term, next year, this year, it's not gonna make a dent. People are cold, people are thinking steelhead, it's the holidays, whatever. And even if I do encourage, go out there. It's great. You know, I would even encourage you, don't go out as much in the middle of the season, but go out later and go out earlier. I always have, like, all my fish before the whole thing has started. So I go early. Always been the case. And I also go late. I have always gone late. And in the late outings, obviously I'm not catching as much worthy fish, but I am, and I'm catching them late. But again, that's also to do with me spending so much time doing it, and also being so good at it, and also getting lucky from time to time, and also having the privilege of timing, because timing is very important. Here, I'll touch on timing. For example, with this late season, the best possible time is on the drop. It's usually the best possible time at any time, but on the drop it's great, because the fish from the lower ends of the system have pushed in, and On the drop is where they are moving and at the same time, present and very fishable, because the water's cleared up and all the rest of it. And then depending on where you are, you gotta time the tides and the rest of it, and boom, there you have it. You choose your spot. So I usually have all these things to my advantage. So don't think like just because I can do it, you can do it. I mean, yeah, you can get lucky. Anybody can get lucky. You can just on a fluke go on a good day. But yeah. In any case, this to me has always been the best time to practice for late season, because there's enough fish, and even the old fish bite not as much, but if you figure out how to make them bite, then you're pretty good for when there's a lot and when it's in the middle of the season. Obviously treat the fish with respect and just release them gently and the rest of it. And honestly, for the bleeding hearts out there, man, if I release 5 or 10 tomatoes, and what? 1, 2, 3 don't survive, you think like I'm really endangering the species? And you're saying, okay, well, what if 100 guys release 5, 10 or whatever fish? Yeah, but it's still compared to all the rest of the commercial fishing, open net farms, the rest of it, blah blah blah, you're telling me that whatever, man, your heart can bleed as much as you want it or let it, and you can exaggerate things as much as you want, but just open your eyes. None of the stuff that we have as problems for the population have to do with any of the sports fishermen and all of us. In any case, we know these realities. I'm gonna move on to the point of this video in being more about what I'm up to today. And what I'm up to today is finding my best spot that I want to commit to, where I can hopefully be able to float fish, jig, as well as fly fish. There's many spots that this works, and let's go find one right now. Oh, here comes the part where it starts to become cool. It starts to become very cool. Can you see them? Can you see them? Not many, but can you tell that there's a few cleaner ones? This isn't bad. Like, this is what I'm looking for, right? So now over here, I'm gonna try on the jig for a little while. Then I'm gonna switch to the float for a little while, and then I'm gonna switch to the fly for a little while, making a bit of a comparison as to what works best, and kind of testing the 3 methods out against each other in the same conditions. Obviously, it helped that where I'm fishing, there's fish available where the water is moving from the float, and right in front of me where the jig and the fly can do damage. So I'm being as objective as I can by choosing this spot. And ooh, yeah, see, some cleanies. Boom. Yeah, I see. Hopefully my video taking is decent, because I do get distracted sometimes. But again, if you notice, ooh, I did get that one bite. If you notice, I am behind the fish. The fish are facing the way you see them facing, I'm behind them, and I'm retrieving towards their heads. Man, I can never express this just the right way. One day I'll have a short way of explaining how I like sitting behind the fish, right behind them, as they're facing the opposite, like the same way I'm facing. Or, oh no, monsieur, I'm making it more complicated than it is. Jesus Christ. Okay, next time you'll get it. Next time I explain, which is probably going to be in 2 minutes, and I'm sure you'll get it. It'll be a better explanation. Moving on. I'm not going to bore you with all of the attempts or the entire time I was fishing on a jig or on a float or on the fly. And I will tell you right now that the jig didn't work. So let's move on to float fishing. In our case, the tail rod had fish. This is me fishing anywhere between 3 and 4.5 feet depth. That's my preferred depth. Tail outs are my preferred just place to be when I float fish, particularly. In other cases too, but for float fishing. So to me, the number one important thing is, for the drift you're making, you have to have your right depth. And filling with your depth is most of the battle. Obviously, you want to drift the right way without disturbing the natural flow. Oof, that could have been a bite. Disturbing the natural flow of your float. You don't want to hold up the line or release too much so that you have all this extra line dragging and messing with your hook set and your presentation. But depth is very important. Maybe you noticed I'm fiddling with my depth almost every second cast by a little bit. A couple inches in one direction at a time. Just a tweak. Just a tweak. See that slow float right at the end? So often you get them like that. It was nice to see a spot that I could jig, float fish, and fly fish. If I have to be honest, actually, I float fished most of the hour and a half of today's session. Because I haven't done it enough this season, just because I've been so greedy and I've been going for numbers. You can see some of these fish now in this close cast, slow current cast. They're kind of making some motions connected to the bait, but not much interest. So yeah, I've been missing float fishing, that visual. I make an effort for you to be able to see the float like you are seeing it right now when I'm float fishing. And I feel that's one of the most important things when it comes to taking a video float fishing, is you want to be able to visibly see that float and the bite. To me, basically the most important thing. I have given up on the float fishing action for now, and I am about to switch to the fly. Look at that. This whole time I was right super close to the fish and they didn't spook yet. Look at them right in front of me. This is like 15-20 feet in front of me. And this is what I speak about a lot, is you don't spook them if you're behind them. They don't see you. It's also not a coincidence that I'm exactly behind them. casting in a way so that when I retrieve, the fly is coming back directly in their faces towards them rather than away from them, sideways of them. I could have gone a little bit higher or lower and have a sideways angle or whatever, if I went up to the left or whatever kind of angle, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. This angle here that I'm on is basically the most correct angle. When they're facing, whatever way they're facing, you get behind them and cast in the direction of them facing and stuff. See, I still made it too complicated, but I'm pretty sure you get it. Okay, so you're looking at it first cast on the fly, letting it drop some, getting my zoom out because you can't really see the bite anyway, even if I zoomed in, I don't think. But boom, on that first cast, I think you already know that we have a winner between the jig, the float, and the fly. And this is why I've had so many fly videos and I've been fly fishing so much this season. It's just because when you're catching an average of 3 times more fish than the other 2 methods, it's just a no-brainer. But look at this, December 23rd, 2024, a chromie, a beautiful chromie. How do I finish this off? I finish this off by saying Merry Christmas to everybody. I'm grateful to God for giving me this life and this chance to fish these beautiful rivers and just to be so humbled in His creation. And yeah, I don't want to make this religious-y and whatever, but I'm just feeling pretty grateful. And if I am grateful to somebody, it has to be God, the Creator, and whoever and whatever force made all of this possible. And yeah, hope everybody has a nice Christmas season, and I'll see you on the next one.